Hi, I'm Robin. I'm going to show you how to make this mirrored double braid bracelet. This bracelet, I used 2 looms connected together. Please disregard the end of that loom. Someone else started that project and I promised them I would leave it there. But you can make a bracelet long enough for a child's wrist on 2 looms connected together like so. Make sure your loom has the slot pointing upwards. I like to use 3 colors for this bracelet because it gives a continuing diamond pattern as it goes down the bracelet. You can use however many colors you'd like if you'd like to vary the pattern. Your first band should be a cap band that's doubled over on itself, and that goes on the very bottom peg. You want to take 3 more of those cap bands. The first goes from the center peg to this next center peg, then from this bottom to the left, then from the bottom to the right. I'll pause the video while I place those bands. The rest of your bands will be single bands and will go past the diagonal pin to the pin beyond it. So for instance, we'll go from the center out to the left here, there, and then we'll take that same color again from the center out to the right. Okay, if you've seen the video for the double braid bracelet on Junstinstoys, that's where I got this idea from. It just kind of mirrors that and uses single bands to prevent breaking bands as you pull them through. Okay, so your next bands are going to come down from the outside here and go up to the center. So we'll start on the left with our 3rd color and go up here, and then another one from the right. Okay, then I will take my pink, and this is our next pin we're working from, since we started from this one up to here and we went from this one out to here. Now our next one up in line is this pin. So since we have pink on here and I have 3 colors, I know that my next color again is pink. I'll go from this pin out here to the left and again out to the right. I'll do this pattern one more time. So my next pin up to work from, I just place this. So now we have these 2 outer pins and it's black. I only have 3 colors, so I know that's also black. So we go from the left up here and from the right up here. Okay, you may be wondering about these original cap bands. This is to link all this together as we finish this bracelet. Otherwise, these coming in through here will have nothing to link it and lock it into place, and we might have a bracelet unraveling on us. Okay, so I've just placed these from here. My next pin up is this blue one where these blues are coming, so now I know blue again comes up past here and up to the right. And as I loom these, you see it's making sort of this, you can see the black has a nice diamond pattern, and the blue will also have, well, it'll start with an X but then finish with a diamond up here as we keep going. But we just loom from our next pin up, we keep going all the way down the loom. So my next pin up from here is the pink ones on the outside, and I take those just past the blue one to the center. Okay. So I go here to here, Then again here to here. And I will pause the video while I loom the rest of these. Okay, now I am nearing the end of my loom. I have most of my bands placed. As you can see, as we go up, you can see the outside band always goes over as it comes up, goes over the band as it comes up, and then the inner band initially goes over and then it's under. Okay, so that comes through all the way up. We have nice diamonds here because I only use 3 colors. Now we're nearing the end of my loom. Okay, so when I finish this black, it's going to end up here at my last peg. But I'm going to need to link these together here to make sure that there's something to pull them through to link them with the end of the bracelet, otherwise we'll have loose ends here. So as I come up, my next color, let's see, the next band's up is blue, and that comes in here. Okay, I have one more peg. Next color up is pink. And those go out here and out here. Now I can bring the blacks up into here because that's my next color. And at this point, now I need to start linking those other sides and the middle. Oops, that goes here. Okay. So I don't want these 2 loose ends on the pink to be hanging out by themselves, so I need to link them back into here. I'm going to use this next color up, which is blue, and we're going to do cap bands again, here to here, also here to here, and lastly from the middle in. Okay? So I'm going to pause the video and place those cap bands. Don't forget to double over your bands to be cap bands on these 3 because they're going a shorter distance than all the rest of your bands, so they need to be extra tight so they don't end up sticking out when you're finished with your bracelet. Okay, now you can see those 3 bands placed. First this one, then this one, then this one. These are cap bands, they're doubled over. Lastly, I'm going to take a band, I'm going to triple it because it's going to connect the rest of the chain, and we're going to go from here to here with that tripled over band, and that's because otherwise it could be a little bit loose as we loom these out through it. So we don't want too loose of an opening here. That's going to be this band right here. This bottom yellow one is tripled over. Okay, it might be a little difficult to see that. Let's see if I can get it to focus. But anyway, that is a tripled band right there. And even so, it does seem slightly wide, but any more than that and we could risk breaking some bands, and you don't want that on the very first band. So okay, and here you can see that tripled band placed just to the side here. Okay, and I will relieve some pressure as we start to loom these. So our next step is to spin our loom around. And we come back to this tripled band right here. This is our starting peg. And our top band is this center cap band, so we'll loom that first. Okay, as you see, I have both parts of that cap band. And we're just going to go ahead and pull those up gently to this next peg. This is a little bit difficult to do one-handed as I'm recording at the same time. Okay, there we go. So our next band down is this one going off to the left. I come through here and pull that one over. And then we have this one right here, and that goes up to the right. Make me sure I don't have any other bands on there, just the blues. Okay. Okay. And that can go over that peg right there. And let me just, sorry about that, pull that back over here. Okay. So one thing I like to do is keep my bands straight, as it makes a much neater bracelet after you finish. Okay, so my next band down on this peg is the black, going off to the left, so I will take that. Being careful not to pull it too hard. Okay. Sometimes you need to do a little stress relief. Pull that up and around there. The next black goes up to this peg here. So I'll get that one through. And, oops, leave a little stress here. Don't want to break that band. Okay, and there we go there. Okay, now that I have these pins bands pulled through, I'm just going to release that just from there so that it's not under quite so much tension, because it's already tripled over. I don't want that to snap as I'm looming this through. That would probably make me cry. Okay, so there's my next band, my next pins up are the pink, and always I start from the left. And I try and keep this from snapping. You get a little, ease it over into the middle before I pull it back up onto its peg, like that. Okay. And same with this side over here. Just get that pink band. Oops. And, okay, here we go. Pardon me. There we go. Ease that up and over. This is very difficult to do one-handed. Okay. So from here, it gets a little bit easier. So we've got all these cap bands pulled. My next peg up to pull forward, since I got the pinks, is the center peg, and I'll have two on each center peg to pull forward and out, and then one on each side and the next peg to pull forward and in. So it just kind of continues like that down the loom. So here we come on this side of here, pull that first band that's going off to the left, around carefully, and pull it out a little bit so we have even tension top to bottom. That also keeps the bands from rolling on each other if you pre-tension it as you loom it through. Here we go again. We'll pre-tension this a little bit. It also helps keep it from pinching as badly. Sometimes that's a problem and can lead to ripped bands. So there, we pull that one out. So our next pin up, we loomed everything forward from this pin. Our next pin up is the blacks. We go left and then right. And then after that will be pinks. out to the left and out to the right. Okay, we'll continue in that fashion down the entire loom. I'll get a few rows done so I can show you a few things to look for as you loom it. Okay, now you can see we have a few more rows completed. Again, we're starting with each row of pegs, so the center is its own row. We'll bring those both forward and out, which were the blacks, and then we go to the next row up, which the blacks into the center. Actually, these were the blues that came from this peg. So they went out, the blacks came into the center. Our next row was the pinks, those came out to the sides. The blues came into the center, the blacks came out to the side, and the pinks is the next that came into the center. So we continue this way down the remainder of the loom. Okay, so at this point I have loomed past the joint of my two looms, and just for simplicity's sake I like to take that other loom back out of the way, and in order to do that I need to take this back off the loom. The best way to do that without risking breaking any more bands is to take the sides out first. What this does also is it helps give you a nice even stretch to all your bands. I like to stretch this up here as I take it off the side. That way the bands are stretched evenly along the sides. You don't end up with any funny poking out or looking uneven. So I'm going to go ahead and take the sides off all the way up to my joint, which is right here. So now you can see I have those sides pulled off that first loom, and it's quite easy just to pull the remainder of the bracelet up off. This first loom. Here. And then this peg here. Okay. Actually, I think I want it off those black bands off as well. I'll leave it on that peg, but I'll take these two black bands off there carefully. Okay, now I can take this other loom out of the way, and you can see it's coming out quite nicely. Nice pretty little diamond patterns, and we'll finish looming the rest of this loom, and I will show you how to finish this end right here. Okay, we can see I've loomed this all the way to the end here. Now my next bands. There's none other with bands on the backs of the pegs except these black ones here are next, these being already loomed. So I'm going to go ahead and loom this one here, pull it back, and it's able to stretch around there a little easier. Okay, and that goes to my end peg. That down a little bit, and then this side, the black, again, pull it back, stretch it out a little bit, and then pull it around to that end peg. Now I have my next peg up from these blacks is the pink, and here I have a cap band that I pull straight forward. So I'm going to pull that back first. Makes it a little easier to slip through there. There it goes nicely. And over my end peg. This end peg is going to have a lot of bands on it when we finish these last two, being also pink. First from the left. Okay, and pull that one over. Then from the right. And pull that over. Now I have a lot of bands on here and I want to kind of slip up over the top of my peg. And this is probably the toughest part here. Now we have down here the first thing we put on this end peg when we first started our design is a cap band right here. So we're going to want to pull this up through the middle so that we can connect it to our extension if we need one, or to our C-clip if we don't. So to get at this is a little bit tricky. Sometimes you need two hooks. If you pull back all of these, I will pull them back so I can show you. You can see that. If you look down through here, you can see those are crossed. That's still part of my design. So I pull those back. Excuse me. Hard to do with one hand. Those are still going sideways. That's still part of my design. I need those back as well. And ta-da, there are my cap bands. So I'm going to hook those. Yay, got them. Okay. And bring it up around. Pull some tension on it first. Bring it around my peg. Ah, stop. Okay. And then I'm going to hook the other end of my peg on the ones on this end. Down here. So I'm going to hook those two. Those are the other end of my cap bands. If you want to use this first cap band as a different color, that might be a little bit easier to see with all these other colors in here as well. So now that's on my hook, and I can remove the rest of this bracelet from the loom. Again, the first thing I want to do is remove the sides. Do this all the way down. Just a moment. Okay, there we've removed the sides. Now we can just go ahead and remove the rest of the bracelet from the loom. And even though these are single bands in here, because they're stretched a little extra, it does get pretty tight taking it off the loom. If anyone's ever done Junstinstoys double braid with the cap bands for this design on 2 rows, you can attest that. Okay, there we go. You managed to get the right ones there. And there's our bracelet. If you're going to use an extension on this, I recommend using cap band extensions just because it keeps the nice tight design of the rest of the bracelet. Here's the one I did previously with cap band extension. Again, it keeps that nice tight pattern. Okay. Thank you very much. Happy looming.